Live from the Dunkin Latte Lounge.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Dunkin Latte Lounge. My name is Garrett from Elvis Duran and the Z100 Morning Show. We appreciate you taking some time out of your day and stopping to scroll and landing on us. Welcome to the Dunkin Latte Lounge. I'm pleased to welcome in Miss Casey. How are you?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So from Boston, moved to New York, the very much East Coast story. But the question that I think we're all asking ourselves when we meet someone new, how are you spending quarantine?
I'm back in Massachusetts, which feels pretty on brand for the Dunkin Latte Virtual Lounge, headquarters of Dunkin Universe here. But yeah, no, my parents have a home on Cape Cod. And so I've kind of been splitting time safely, quarantining.
You always have to say that. You always have to
time.
say safely because
Safely
you never know.
between,
You put one thing on the internet and it's like,
I know. So I swear safely, but I've been splitting time a little bit between Brooklyn and the Cape, and it's kind of been a best of both worlds situation.
talk about two different accents right there. The Brooklyn, I think we have this friend Danielle that she has the typical Brooklyn accent, and then you have the Boston accent too. So you get a mix of both worlds. But I don't hear it. I don't hear it in the voice. I don't hear it in your song. So congratulations to you.
You know what? I wish I'd held on to it a little bit more. If I'm getting really feisty watching a sports game or something, I hear it come out just a little bit, and my whole family's proud when it comes back out.
All right. Well, if you don't know, your start, was with American Idol, where a lot of people got to see you and hear you for the first time ever. And just like many, and you found a way, your own niche, which I really appreciate and admire, to continue what you're doing personally and teach others along the way too. It's not just about you; it's about everyone else, which I really admire. So let's talk about the day after Idol. You decided, hey, I want to make some music, but I also want to teach some lessons and want to help the youth out there in the world.
So yeah, I run this anti-bullying program called the You Matter Tour, where I've gone to schools all over the country.
The world. Let's clear
The
that
world,
up.
yeah, actually, yeah, that was really cool. Last fall, I took some of them to Europe. But it's been really interesting. I have all these songs, right? Like a lot of songwriters from my childhood, from middle school, from high school, and I put into words the feelings I had growing up. And it was as an adult that I realized that these were kind of like little time portals to go back, not as an adult trying to remember and preach about what it's like to be a kid, but I had access to my actual genuine feelings from the time. And so what I do is I take some of my songs that deal with self-confidence and bullying and self-love and all these issues that so many young kids are facing, and I go back to schools and I use them as an opportunity to talk to kids about what they're going through. But through music, and it's really fun, right. And we have a really good time, and we pitch it to the students as like a concert with American Idol's Casey. Like, do you know what I mean? We go
get out of class for 90 minutes.
That's what I always say. Especially if I go to like a high school, I'll be like, you owe me, you have to pay attention a little bit because you're not in math. So math's great, but this is more entertaining. But so yeah, it's been really, really awesome and successful. And it's been a really amazing way as an independent artist to interact with new fans through original music, really directly. And I get to go and play for 1,000 people at a time, which is normally something you have to wait until a little bit later in your career to have that opportunity.
Now, how's that been for you over the last few months, being able to connect with students, obviously, because just like we're doing right now, a lot of it's been over the computer and Zooms and whatever else you want to call it, FaceTimes to connect with people. So how has that been for you over the past few months?
Well, I'm so happy that I've been able to go to all these schools in the past, because something I tell the administrators when I'm talking to them about coming in is like, I come to your school once, but the students don't interact with me once. Right. I exist on all the platforms as an artist that these students are on anyway. And these students are used to going to Instagram and TikTok and YouTube for the people that they look up to. And so what happens is I try to slip in between, the Kardashians and the Jenners or whatever, all these fabulous people that are on these apps, and be real and be authentic and bring that vulnerability that I try to bring to the schools with me to my social media. Right. And what that allows me to do is to continue to interact with these students well after I'm gone. and I wasn't planning on it, but also during times of a global pandemic, I didn't know that was going to be one of the upsides, but
That was on the schedule. You didn't have that scheduled?
no, no Nostradamus over here.
All right. Well, let's jump into this first song. You're going to do a few songs for us, which we appreciate because, again, what else are we doing during quarantine? So I'm glad we have this opportunity. So tell us before we jump into it and you start performing for us. Tell us about "Hold Me."
Oh man, Hold Me is one of my first singles that I released, and it's kind of like this very belty, intense song that was super, super fun to produce and create. And I wrote it in New York and recorded it in Manhattan, and so it's brings me back a little bit to the times of before. But I hope everyone likes it. It's been really fun playing it on tour. It's been one of the hits, so I hope everyone enjoys it.
All right. So when we come back, let's talk about who you've been out on tour with and more too. But first, let's get to a performance from you, Miss Casey. This is "Hold Me."
I'm so happy to be performing some of my songs for you today. The first one I'm going to do is a song called "Hold Me." And I wrote this song about self-control and how self-control is harder at 2 a.m. than it is at 10 p.m. And, at the time that I wrote this song, I was in Brooklyn and I wrote it about a relationship. Now in quarantine, it seems to be more about my relationship to pizza. But, whatever floats your boat. So if you hear this and it makes you think of love or it makes you think of junk food, it's all good. Here we go. 2 a.m. You hit me up, wonder where I am, and I'm not strong enough to be tough. So now you're downstairs, now I've let you in, and now your hands in my hair, and I no longer care all the times that I swear I'll never go there. Hold me like you're lonely, like you won't leave in the morning time. You don't love me, but baby, when you touch me, I need your heartbeat next to mine. Let's just lie for a little while. Just lie for a little while. Last time I swore was the last time. I swore I'd never again let you into my head, let you under my sheets and into my bed. Hold me like you're lonely, like you won't leave in the morning time. You don't love me, but baby, when you touch me, I need your heartbeat next to mine. Let's just lie for a little while. Just lie for a little while. Hold me and you'll pretend you mean it this time. I'll pretend that I will be fine. Let's just lay and lie one more time. Hold me like you're lonely, like you won't leave in the morning time. You don't love me, but baby, when you touch me, I need your heartbeat next to mine. Let's just lie for a little while. Just lie for a little while.
All right, that is "Hold Me" from Casey. I mean, do you still get those vibes like the first time you when you finish that last note, put the period or exclamation point at the end of the lyric, you're like, I can go back to that time every time, that moment when I was like, the song's done?
You know, that for me is the most exciting thing about songwriting. I feel like there's something so validating about having a feeling and being able to look at it on paper. You know, a lot of the songs that I write deal with like difficult topics and difficult issues. And for me, there's always been somewhat of a release from being able to put it down on paper. And so, you know, I joked as I was introducing that song that, you know, I wrote it about having lack of self-control at 2 a.m. And
we all do, though. We all do.
Well, especially now in quarantine, but it's more pizza than it is boys.
But pizza boys, who cares? Pizza's more fulfilling, though. Pizza's more fulfilling.
I would agree. But you know, what was amazing is like I wrote that song and I kind of was able to realize, oh my gosh, I feel this way. Right. And I ended it actually with the guy that I was seeing because I was like, I don't want to feel this way. This isn't a fulfilling relationship. So even if a lot of my songs are a little sad, they usually help me get to a better place.
Which is funny because we were talking about it too, where you're a very upbeat, bubbly person, but to everybody too, I think everybody's just like the same way. Everybody has feelings that they want to get out sometimes, and you being a songwriter, it's the perfect outlet for it too. So I suggest anybody that has those same feelings, start writing. You never know.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, let's talk about going out on tour because, 2019 and then just a smidge of 2020, you've been with some big names, Tyler Hilton, Katie Vogel, no relation to me, by the way, Eric Hutchinson too, and Nick Howard. I mean, it kind of has to be so cool to go from, a couple of years ago, I was, on a reality singing competition, got to meet J-Lo. Wow. But now this is me. It's me. I'm not anybody else but me right now with some pretty amazing people.
It's been like truly like the goal the whole time, the dream, like that's just all you want to do. And in quarantine, I really realized like that's the main thing that I miss is touring. And touring can be a grind. Like I had bronchitis on my first tour and I broke my rib, from singing through it, like it can be a grind. And I think that's why it shows the fact that I miss it as much as I do. Right. Really illustrates like this is what I want to do. Everyone was so kind to me though, and is so welcoming.
Have you had the itch for touring so bad that you started to like just perform for like you think you're playing at Madison Square Garden, but you're in your living room and just putting on your own show?
Well, I've been doing like live streams on my Instagram and it's super hard to play like you're playing for an audience alone. So I make my family come up and like
put the clapping in, just like at baseball, they put in the fake audience where they have the sound.
My mom.
I could see a friend of mine, he does stand up and he was saying that he still needs that like to get the kinks out of routines, but outside of just going on Instagram or trying to do something, with a crowd socially distant, he sets up chairs around his house and then he imagines people sitting there and just to kind of get a feel for the room of like staging when he's telling jokes. So
right, man.
I'm not saying do it because it could make you look crazy, but I'm just saying that's what some people are doing right now. All right, let's jump into your next song too. It's called "Dying," and it doesn't sound like an upbeat song. So tell us what it's all about.
Well, "Dying," it's not as bad as it sounds. It's actually one of my most like upbeat pop songs, but it's about a breakup. I think again, like this concept of self-control and trying to live up to the standards that you have for yourself. And that's not always an easy thing to do. There's usually a lot of internal conflict. And so I went through a breakup and it was like a good rip the Band-Aid breakup. Like we didn't really speak afterwards. We kind of just left each other alone, but it was really hard. And, I think it's funny watching the progressions of my songwriting because when I was in high school, I'd write songs and would be like, we broke up and I'm going to go on a drive in my car and and now it's like, I'm going to drink a bottle of wine sitting on the floor.
But still listen to Fall Out Boy.
So exactly. So this is a bottle of the wine sitting on the floor kind of song, but it's got like a pop beat to it. So there you go. Balance. All right.
This is Casey and "Dying."
It's really cool because I live in New York, but am from Massachusetts. And so the Dunkin's Z100 Lounge is kind of bringing it all together for me. That first song I wrote in New York, but this next song I wrote in Massachusetts, and in the most Massachusetts way possible at the TD Gardens, sitting in the parking lot on my way to a Bruins game, which would make my family very proud for me to mention. But yeah, this song's called "Dying," not as dark as it sounds. It's a breakup song that's also about self-control, which seems to be a theme in my life. But yeah, here's this song. It's called Dying. The joke is that a lot of my music's kind of sad, and the way to remember how to find me is to look up Casey Dying, because it's kind of on brand for my stuff. So here we go. Don't do it, I tell myself, sitting on the floor of this empty house. I shouldn't call you so late at night, but the phone just stares as I drink my wine. I get a little closer every glass as I break my heart with all old photographs. I'm dying, dying just to reach out through the silence. I'm dying just to know, what would you do? If I just called you, what would you say? Do you ever wish you'd stayed? In my head, wondering again, in my head, wondering again, in my head, wondering again. Are you laying in your room when you close your eyes to smell my perfume? Or is there a new girl on my side, sleeping in my old moonlight? And does she know about me, what we were? Do you think about me when you're with her? I'm dying, dying just to reach out through the silence. I'm dying just to know, what would you do? If I just called you, what would you say? Do you ever wish you stayed with me as you're lying in your bed at night and you're playing back that final fight in your head, wondering again, in your head, wondering again, wondering what we could have been. I'm dying, dying to reach out through the silence. I'm dying to know, why did you leave me? Was it easy to walk away? Do you ever wish you'd stayed? I'm trying, yeah, trying my best to keep myself from driving to your door to tell you I wish we could go back, get back what we had. What would you say? Do you ever wish you'd stayed? Again, in my head, wondering again, wondering. Do you ever wish you'd stay? In my head, wondering again, in my head, wondering again, wondering. Do you ever wish you'd stayed?
All right, welcome back to the Dunkin Latte Lounge. That was Casey with Dying. My name is Garrett. Now, Casey, I wanted to ask you too. Like, you write these songs, you start performing them, and it's like, are you the type of person as a singer-songwriter that if you are in a relationship, the idea is, you start a little bit more happier of songs, or is this like, this is it? Like, I'm in it, and I'm just gonna write it down right this second.
It's funny. I never write happy songs. It's so bad. But I feel like for me, the songwriting is always about that conflict of emotion that I was talking about before, saying dying, like that feeling of confusion and trying to work something out. And if I'm writing about myself or I'm writing about a character, I want that character to grow a little bit. And so even in my happy songs, I feel like there's a little bit of self-exploration. So I definitely write exactly what's happening in my life. But even if no one's 100% happy all the time. And so I feel like I can usually find a little bit of self-growth that I want to analyze in the songwriting.
And it's funny that you say that too, because have you had the chance to listen to Folklore?
Oh my God, I love it so much.
But it's so what was your takeaway from it before? What did you envision as a story? Did you envision it was all Taylor Swift? Did you envision that it was something else? Or what was your take on it?
I mean, I'm super into lyrics, no shock there.
Right.
So I love it. And Taylor Swift's one of the best lyricists on the planet. And this, I think, I would be surprised if any song on this album is about her personal experience. Taylor Swift, even when she writes about her own self, she writes a lot of the times from people's perception of her own self.
Exactly.
Remember, like Bad Blood and all these in 1989, all the songs about her being crazy were about what people thought she was.
I can't see myself wearing a cardigan in 95-degree weather, but people are doing it right now. That's the power of Taylor Swift right there. But it's interesting though, because her fans, the Swifties, were saying that, you know, oh, maybe she's going to get engaged on this album. Then they listened to the album and they're like, oh, maybe she broke up during this album. And then Taylor had to come out and say, listen, these are just a bunch of stories that were in my head that,
Right.
you know, from everything. So it's funny how people have their own perception of your music per se.
Right. Well, that's what I think is like amazing. Like this next song that I'm going to sing after we finish up here is a song called Can a Heart Go Bad? And it's about my anxiety disorder. And, you know, I'm like a very high functioning anxious person. Like a lot of people experience anxiety in a way that they wouldn't be able to get on a radio interview.
Right.
Be able to get on stage.
Oh, you're doing great. I mean, until you just said it, honestly, I would never have been able to be like, oh, she's an anxious person.
Well, because I think, you know, it shows itself in different ways for different people. And so I wrote this song about my own personal experience and how, you know, always feeling like there was something a little off internally, especially as a child, made me really worry that there was something like different about me, wrong about me.
Right.
And as I've been playing this song out on tour, it's been really amazing. I have people come up to me. I was on tour with an artist named Stephen Kellogg, and a like 65-year-old man came up to me and shook my hand and said, you know, I have been ashamed of my mental health issues for every day of my life until today.
Wow.
I'm like, and the song isn't upbeat, but it shines a light on it. And so I think what happens is, just like in my school program, when I get up on stage and I'm outgoing and I'm fun and I'm confident and I talk about these issues I have, it destigmatizes them. That's what I hope. And so with this next song, I hope to destigmatize mental health issues a little bit and say that it's people like me also have these problems.
All right, well, let's get into it. So this is Casey, Can a Heart Go Bad?
So I just want to take the opportunity to clearly thank Z100 and Dunkin's and iHeartRadio. What a cool list of people to have to thank during a video. I just really appreciate you guys having me here. I'm so pumped, and thank you guys for watching. We're rolling in to the last song of the set, and this song is actually a brand new song that I'm gonna play. It's a song called Can a Heart Go Bad? And I actually wrote this song about my anxiety disorder. And when I wrote it, I thought I wasn't going to sing it for anybody because it's really personal and embarrassing and dark. But I was on tour and I was connecting with people, and people were telling me how much it meant that I was being honest with my music. And I knew that I had this little song that I wasn't singing, so I sang it on tour. And I got such an amazing response from people. It was really, really like warmed my heart how much people came and took the time to tell me how hearing me speak about my anxiety disorder lessened the burden of theirs just a little bit. And so I think there's something to be said about shining a light on dark things because it can make them less scary. So this song's called Can a Heart Go Bad? And it goes out to anybody who thinks that there might be something just a little bit wrong with them. I can tell you there is not, but I know it can feel that way sometimes. And we're in this together. So thank you guys for having me. Here we go.
I'm really sorry, I didn't mean it, but I can't take it back. Are you angry? I really hate it when you look at me like that. But I feel a monster stirring in my stomach. I work to push it down, but I can't. And as it takes me over, I'm left wondering, is this who I really am? There's something wrong with my mind. Save me. I'm falling all the time. Can a heart go bad? Can a heart go bad? Please don't be mad. I think my heart went bad. It cuts me open, leaves me broken, and I don't know why. I try to hide it. I swear I fight it, but I lose every time. I wish that I could be a different person. I wish this weight was lifted off of me. I'm crying, fighting, dying, trying hard to. That's not who I want to be. There's something wrong with my mind. Save me. I'm falling all the time. Can our heart go back? Can our heart go back? Please don't be mad. I think my heart went back. Help me, save me. It's like I've been going crazy lately. Right now, you need to help me, save me. It's like I've been going crazy lately. Right now, you need to help. There's something wrong with my mind. Save me. I'm falling all the time. Can our heart go back? Can our heart go back? Please don't be mad. I think my heart went back. I think my heart went back. My heart went back. My heart went back.
All right, well, there you have it, and it's so true about lyrics too, because a lot of people just listen to a song and be like, "Oh, that's a cool song," but until you sit down and actually hear lyrics, which it has to be frustrating at times as an artist, where you put so much heart and soul into it, and people are like, "Oh, it's an awesome song," and they don't connect to it. But when you find that fan, like you were just saying, that 65-year-old man who connected with you based off of the lyrics, that has to just feel like $1 million.
It's truly like the whole point for me. I once was talking to this pretty famous producer, and I was arguing for the importance of lyrics. And I said, I agree that great lyrics with a bad melody is just a poem. Like, yes, you're right.
That sounds like a Taylor Swift lyric too.
You're right. But I think that Taylor Swift is a perfect example. Ed Sheeran, Adele, Bruno Mars,
Right.
These people with great sense of lyricism. That is why people come back for more. And so I think, you gotta catch people with the melody, but hopefully they stay
Stay for the lyrics.
Yeah.
100%. All right. So Casey, let's catch everybody up. What is the idea for 2020? Like, can you even plan for 2021 yet? Or you just kind of have to wait and see how the world shapes out? Or you kind of have a loose idea what the future holds for you on the touring and music front?
Well, I've just been writing a ton. We figured out like the Zoom songwriting sessions are happening. I'm writing with my friends in LA and Nashville, and that's been really cool. And I definitely have some new songs coming out. And funnily enough, I'm trying to set up my school anti-bullying program through Zoom for the fall.
Oh, great.
October is anti-bullying month, and that's usually a big month for me. So I'm trying to see and touch base with schools and see if they want to still have a virtual assembly. So we'll see how it all goes.
I think they will. And to follow you all across social media, go for wherever you want. Websites, handles, tell us where.
So my handle is Listen to Casey, like my name, CASEY, and that's listencasey.com, and then my Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, blah, 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 blah. And, we talked about how a lot of my songs are a little dark. The way you to remember how to find them on Spotify and Apple Music is you look up Casey Dying.
I'm sure your family loves that. Type it in.
Very on brand.
All right. So Casey, thank you so much for joining us today in the Dunkin Latte Lounge. And for everyone else too, if you're looking for something else to do after this interview, you want to keep on watching, we would appreciate it. You could check out all the interviews, DunkinLatteLounge.com. And if you're taking a screenshot right now, let me at least look pretty for a second. Hashtag Dunkin Latte Lounge. Make sure you use the hashtag. We see them, so we know you're posting about us. So thank you for that as well. And Casey, let's catch up very soon. And thank you so much for hanging with us today.
Thank you so much, man. It was nice to see you.
Live from the Dunkin Latte Lounge,